Hello, and welcome to Of Dice and Them. We are a TTRPG actual play podcast, and tonight we are playing Blades in the Dark. My name is Tove, and I'm your game master for this evening. Joining me is not one, but two of my fellow cast members. We have Jack.
Hello! The energy has always been high!
Yes, there's no reason to make that comment, because we're all really enjoying the January darkness of Britain. Ralph, how are you feeling?
Certainly I am feeling, we all are, terribly so. It's been snowing. That's been something.
It's great, because heating is very cheap in the UK.
Yeah,
and
it's good.
All the sunlight we get makes the snow feel really good.
Yeah, no, it's lovely. When are we in the meat space? When are we?
Meat space?
Mm.
What the fuck is the meat space?
Yeah, the meat space.
When's this episode coming out? That's your question, not where are we in the meat space.
All right, well, forgive me for attempting to introduce a little bit of whimsy.
I think we're in May, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, remember a couple of months ago when it was, chilly? That's when this is all happening.
Yeah, but the people are probably listening from Bali or something where it's fucking gorgeous all the time.
Oh yeah, to be fair, our tens of listeners all around the world, yeah.
Especially in the Caribbean.
Especially in the Caribbean and also the Indonesian island of Bali, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything because for two reasons. A, I make big guffs far more, guffs and gaffs far more than any one of our
There's
listeners.
one now.
Anyone else, but also because I was like, ooh, don't have a great strength in geography, but I'm fairly sure Bali, not in the Caribbean.
That's enough talk about hot places. Let's go talk about dark underground places. Tay.
It's me.
You find yourself in the brightest district of the Undercity, within spitting distance of the cargo lift and switchback stairs that are the main artery between the two halves of Saran.
I spit on it.
Are you done with your little jokes?
You said within spitting distance. I wanted to know whether that was true. I assume as a centaur, I have some spit in me.
Are you half llama? Animal famous for spitting with four
Isn't
legs.
it camel famous for spitting?
It's both. Yeah, it's both.
It's both.
Yeah.
Well, then one would assume that horses are fairly good at it, and by extension, centaurs.
No.
No? No? All right.
No, you're mixing up your artiodactyls and your peritodactyls, mate.
Above your head is the canyon mouth, the narrow rift across which the bridges of the Overcity span. From your vantage point, you spy the cargo lift start to move, descending into the dark. Amongst the expected crates and barrels, you think you see four tall quadrupedal figures on the lift, on their way to join you down here in the dark. Some part of your mind entertains the idea that they could be centaurs. But the crashing of metal bars sliding into place snaps you out of your daydream. You're reminded of where you are. This district has come to be known as the Clink, so named for its immense fortifications and the incredible security of the Millet headquarters. An elven Millet sergeant enters the small room they've put you in, holding a stack of papers in their armpit and 2 cups of steaming hot liquid, one in each hand. They set down the cups and slide one across to you with a mild smile. "How are you holding up?" they ask.
Well, you know me. I always know exactly where I am and why I'm here, and have definitely not been thrust into the middle of some narrative that I was not otherwise prepared for. And Tay leans forward, directly past the cup offered to her to the other cup, and takes that one and drinks that instead. And how hot is it? Is it really hot?
Yeah, probably a bit too hot to drink.
I drink, I burn my tongue and I go,
Would you say you skirmish with the cup?
Yes, I skirmish with the cup. Oh, 2. Ooh.
Burnt tongue. Level 1 harm.
Well, I should clarify that you aren't in any trouble. The spirit wardens are bringing your friend's body to the chapel here for formal identification, and to dispose of it before, well, you know. Woo! And they wave their hands in the air and the universal sign for ghost.
And Tay nods knowingly and does the same sign, like, ooh, yeah.
I do have one question for you, and she sort of flips over a sheaf on her clipboard. Do you know one Neutrality Jones?
I can't say that the name rings a bell, and such a peculiar name it is. I'm sure that I would have perked and piqued my interest at some point. May I ask why you might inquire as such?
Well, she, we understand, bears a striking resemblance to your sadly departed friend. We have testimony from witnesses that she was alive and well trackside when the body was discovered, but we'd be remiss in our duties if we didn't speak to her and tie off that loose end.
Oh, I see.
This isn't an Agony Christina novel, of course, but stranger things have happened down here. What if it were her ghost that everyone saw doing the judging? That would be spooky, wouldn't it?
I must say, I have seen some ghost-like activity around these parts. But no, I'm afraid I don't know this Neutrality Jones. You say they were at the races as well?
Yes, they were one of the judges of the stag race.
Oh, well.
But no matter if you didn't know her. Your friend's body will be here soon, and your story will be confirmed after the spirit guardians have made their investigations.
Yes, I've never been in such a... because I have, of course, never engaged in any kind of warfare, druggery, skullduggery, and the like. I have never come across a spirit guardian. Would you perhaps be able to tell me a little bit more about what they are and what they do?
Of course. Well, as you well know, that death in the Undercity, and in fact the Overcity, will result in a ghost being produced from the spirit of any deceased corpse, and she does the hand waving again.
Tay does the hand thing back.
Yeah, you can tell she's sort of quite into that.
Yeah,
and
obviously.
So the spirit wardens are tasked with disposing of any bodies. They are also quite learned in the arcane arts, such as they are in Saren, and my understanding is that they will be able to commune with the spirit before disposing of the body.
Well, is that not an interesting thing that you might... tell me, Tove, who am I looking at here? What am I dealing with?
Skinny, elven, green hair, pale skin, sergeant insignia on their chest. You reckon you could probably have them in a fight if that's the sort of thing Tay would probably consider.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
do they look like they'd be into Centaur?
yeah, like, where's my gaydar sort of twanging? Is there any kind of... Just we've had a bit of a chat. We've done the ghostly ooh-woos. Am I getting a vibe? Not necessarily are they into women vibe, but like, are they friendly? Do they have a friendly are they picking up what I'm putting down? Because she's naturally quite flirtatious.
No, I think what Tay would be getting is an air of professionalism from this sergeant. They seem to be caring quite a lot about, or trying to show that they care that Tay has lost a friend quite recently and is trying to sort of comfort
I must say, Sergeant, sorry, what was your name?
My name is Sergeant Limetree.
Sergeant Limetree, if I may, I'm just awfully cut up about the loss of my dear friend, and I was unaware if they would be communing with her spirit, and I don't know, I mean, she always hated such spirit walking kind of things in life, and she was always terribly scared of coming back as a ghost, and she often said to me, oh, Tay, she said, Tay, oh, if I ever die, Tay, make sure you never let them bring me back, Tay. Make sure you never let them commune with my spirit under any circumstance, no matter what the necessary requirement of law might be in that particular moment. That's what she used to say to me in her lovely, tranquil kind of voice. And I was just wondering whether there was any way we could get away with not doing any kind of communing with her spirit. It feels like it kind of flies in the face of her prior wishes in life, which is something I, as her dear friend, is now in a position to safeguard, as I am, akin to a sister of hers in many ways, and I'd hate to see her. I wouldn't want to use a word like sacrilege or overturn of wishes, but I was just wondering what the other options would be along said ways.
Would you like to apologise to Lou now for that impression, or
And neither of you two and listeners, all the billions of you that are out there,
Billions of potential listeners.
billions of potential listeners, tens of actual listeners, don't say a word, okay? Just keep it to yourself.
This'll be our little secret.
Sergeant Limetree leans forward looking sort of pained, and they don't look like they're really going to be particularly helpful in that regard. And they say, I can make a request, but the Spirit Wardens really are... They operate on their own rules, unfortunately.
Well, that's fine. Perhaps I could speak with one of these Spirit Wardens. I mean, I honestly couldn't even begin to guess at the sort of protocol we'd be dealing with here. I mean, do they come and conduct an investigation and chat to you people before or after? Or do they just come in, make their deliberations and leave?
You are obviously not under arrest. You are free to go about your business at any point.
I hadn't done anything requiring arrest as far as I was aware.
Of course not. You would be free to go and speak to them in their chapel when the entourage arrives. They may, in fact, appreciate your help in identifying the body.
Sure, and you know, I often wonder, I mean, you seem like someone that knows a lot about ghosts and the thing. I mean, you just seem so earthly and worldly, but also in tune with, you know, the spirit world and everything goes on it. I mean, you have such a way with your words and explaining these things. You've made me so at ease, I must say. Would you happen to know anything about the process of communing with the spirit and what it requires, like a body that's not been tampered with or perhaps mushed further than is apparently the case?
So Sergeant Limetree sort of like closes the clipboard and puts it down and leans forward, and their eyes are like going wider as they finally get a chance to explain everything they know about the communion with ghosts. Kuuza.
Oh, fuck! Cliffhangered me! I was so excited!
You, Kuuza, are here to collect Tay from the clink. You walk the administrative hallways of the castle, following meandering directions from the dwarf on the front desk with the thick accent. As you stride these labyrinthine passageways, you begin to notice your spectral companion seems a little more animated than usual. In fact, as you pass by a glass cabinet filled with trophies, he stops to stare. Following his gaze, you see his eyes resting on a golden cup, engraved with the words, Saran Fencing Doubles, First Place, 15 AV. Lieutenant Vanessa Whisperwind and Staff Sergeant Stanley the Cutter Brown.
I had two thoughts. You know, just because this is Ralph's bit and it's his time to shine, I thought I could continue to make my voice heard. I kind of had this thought that maybe we can battle the ghost of Neutrality Jones with your ghost, like a kind of Pokemon kind of scenario. We have to use your ghost to beat their ghost into submission.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Also, what's AV?
AV after victory.
Nice. Love that.
And that was 15 AV. Was it?
Yes, and
so that
based on this calendar, you would know about 10 years ago.
Okay. So my ghost... Does my ghost look like he could have been a fencing champion about 10 years ago?
I mean, what does the fencing champion look like, really?
Actually, that's a point. What do we know about ghosts? Do ghosts appear at the age they died? Or
wait, hold on. Sergeant Limetree, tell me about ghosts.
Well, I've just been waiting for a chance to tell you all about ghosts, of course. Ghosts appear... no, I'm just going to fucking tell you. He looks like he could have been a fencing champion. You have seen him in the form his potentially rotten body is taking now when Gecko failed an attune roll with him. He looked
classically
like a rotten version of what you can see now, so you would think he... looked sort of like middle-aged, fairly beefy fella.
What was the name again? Stanley?
The names on the trophy are Lieutenant Vanessa Whisperwind and Staff Sergeant Stanley the Cutter Brown.
So I just kind of mutter under my breath as if I'm talking to myself while looking at the cabinet. So this is you, is it? The Cutter Brown, is it?
All of a sudden, the glass shatters and the trophy levitates towards the ghost's hand. You hear a "What the fuck?" come from behind the last pair of doors you pass through. Your ghostly companion is clearly the one guiding the trophy through the air. He turns to you and it floats above his outstretched hand, seemingly offering it to you. It would just about fit inside your coat if you felt the need to take it.
Gotta take it.
Yeah, taking it.
You are now in a empty corridor with
God.
a commotion in the through the previous doors. There is a way forwards.
I will...
Flashback.
What's the cabinet? Is this a kind of a fairly sturdy wooden thing? Has it got legs?
Yes, it has legs. It's full of other seeming sports-related trophies.
I give one of the legs a good kick to see if I can break it so the whole thing falls down, and then I walk very briskly to the next direction on this meandering route.
Okay, the trophy cabinet crashes to the floor further, and you skip away through the next pair of double doors. The next door you pass through brings you to a corridor outside some holding cells. In this corridor stands an elven sergeant and a blonde centaur woman you've come to know quite well.
You've never seen them before. You have. It's Tay. You're just not very observant.
Yeah, roll a perception check.
I rolled a 6. I think I recognise it.
Yeah, that's your friend Tay. Tay, the elven sergeant, Sergeant Limetree, is shaking your hand and nodding, seemingly quite grateful that they've had the opportunity to explain so much about ghosts to you. And they're sort of apologising for your loss again.
So I'm shaking their hand, and as I do so, I clasp it very firmly. I look them gently in the eyes with like a wink and a smile, using all my moves. Anything? Oh! There's not nothing. There's not nothing. I know that look.
There is maybe a hair's breadth
hint
of a crack in their professional visage.
I can work with a crack.
Oh, I bet you can. But you also notice your friend Kuuza's here.
I pretend like I don't know Kuuza, because I heard the almighty crash just now, and I see him walking in with a massive trophy under his.
I've got
like
a very big
2
coat.
foot. Yeah, it's true. You are a bugbear. How tall is Kuuza?
Shut up, move on.
No,
What do
it's
you
not a
say to him?
meme.
Come
It's
on.
not a meme. I'm not joking. How tall is Kuuza? Because Tay's fucking tall. Is Kuuza like fucking
Bugbears
up
are
there?
big. Bugbears are like 7 foot.
Nice. Okay. It's almost as tall as Tay. Cool.
Who isn't a Shetland pony?
No, that would be insulting. I go, Kuuza, my dear friend Sergeant Limetree, I would love it if you were to meet my wonderful, esteemed partner, partner in crime, as it were. No, we don't do crime. Kuuza here, who... Why don't you tell him everything you just told me about ghosts and the like?
No, that's all right,
Kuuza's
Sarge.
very interested
No,
in...
it's all right. No, it's fine. So you ready to, make a move here?
Well, I thought actually we might stay a while and learn more from Sergeant Limetree here. She really is a fountain of knowledge. Why, I would say, is there a person appointed amongst your ranks that deals with that of the supernatural? Kind of Men in Black kind of style.
Well, usually the spirit wardens will... Did I call them the wardens or the guardians? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure you said spirit wardens.
Spirit wardens, yes, that would make sense, I think. They would normally liaise directly with the Grand Marshal, but... As I say, they will be arriving at the chapel probably within the next few hours. If you needed to speak with them directly, you would be welcome to.
Well, I was wondering, what are you doing after this? Would you to be able to maybe accompany us? Because I just feel like someone with your depth of experience and knowledge about the ghostly world and matters might be continually, and of course all of your knowledge about the case, and you've been so helpful up to this point, whether you might be aware.
No, Tay, I'm sure the sergeant's got important sergeanting to get on with. He doesn't want to bother with the likes of us. We should probably just sling our hooks, get out of your hair.
As much as I would love to continue talking about the supernatural with you, I do have a few more appointments this afternoon.
When do you finish?
Another 4 hours or so?
Where might I find you?
Do you waggle your tongue over your lips like that at them?
I don't know. Are they into that?
What are you hoping to achieve here?
Richness of a storytelling.
This character has been on screen for a lot longer than I intended at this point.
That is what I'm intending. That's what I'm after disruption, uncomfortable, discomfort, and melee.
It wouldn't be entirely appropriate for me to fraternize outside of my work as a millet.
I mean, as you so kindly said many times, I'm not under arrest. I haven't done anything. I would just be a member, a citizen of the Undercity such as yourself.
They sort of
exactly. So you've not done anything, so no point hanging around here. So
I can see your
maybe
friend is keen to get on to your next appointment. Perhaps I'll let you both leave.
Busy day.
It's my pleasure to make your acquaintance, Miss Lawswift. And they turn and leave.
All right.
Their hobnail boots clacking loudly through the stone corridors of the clink. And you find yourselves in a quiet corridor.
What was all that, Kuuza?
What the fuck was that? Why are you trying to bring the sergeant along? To our fucking business?
That's what I was doing, what I always do. I was creating leads, I was fraternizing, and I was creating possibilities of the future. Why did you come across and be like, oh, my name's Kuuza. I've got to completely slam through this narrative and not learn anything about ghosts. You know what that means?
You've learned plenty about ghosts. As I was walking up this corridor, I was just hearing flat out ghosts. Ghosts
really?
this and ghosts that.
All I heard from you was crash, bang, wallop, smash. As per usual, Kuuza. As someone that I thought was stealthy and the like, you've been awfully loud, and now you've ruined my exposition into ghosts and possibly robbed me of a lover.
Oh yeah, like you don't have enough of them. All right.
Tay did get quite a bit of information about ghosts.
Flashback, let's hear some of that information.
What, are you doing the flashback? Are you paying the stress for that?
No!
Perhaps it will become relevant in the future, at which point we can revisit the relevant bits of exposition.
Ugh.
To recap, you know that Neutrality Jones's body is being brought to the clink for examination, at which point you believe it will be uncovered as Neutrality Jones's body and not Gecko's body, as is the current cover story.
Yeah, and I didn't come up with any kind of cool information from that might be able to save me.
You think with access to the body, you may be able to prevent it from being able to give up any information about its identity.
Oh, Kuuza, we're going to get the body. And they're spooky people. They have a job, and they apparently, one of their main jobs is to commune with the dead. If they commune with the dead, they'll go and they'll find out that our dear friend, our dearly departed friend, Gecko, is not in fact our friend at all. It is in fact this Neutrality Jones.
Well, fuck me, yeah, that is a bit of a problem.
Oh yeah, as soon as they actually talk to the ghost, the whole jig is up. And then...
Alright.
Fucking... Lieutenant fucking what's-face tree is gonna realize that I may not have been.
Sorry, you turned into my friend Jack there very briefly.
I don't know what you mean, although
it's the stress.
It's a touch of the vapors.
It's the vapors. Yeah. So I feel like we should get to this chapel post haste.
You make your way through the labyrinthine corridors of the Clink. You find your way into the large, probably too big for a courtyard, but in the large open space in the centre of the Clink with the heavily guarded cargo lift up to the Overcity. You think you can see a chapel-type building on the other side of the square. However, coming towards you are, indeed, 4 centaurs. They're leaving the lift and they spot you and they trot towards you, all smiling and saying, "Well, I didn't expect to see another of our kind down here. What a pleasant surprise!"
A pleasant surprise indeed. What do I owe the pleasure for fine specimens such as yourself?
My name's Nick, this here is Arya, that there is John, and here's Guyver, our tank, as it were.
I'm not so good with names myself. One more time?
No, of course, us centaurs have the cultural tradition of talking about our names at length. I'll be interested to ask you your name shortly. My name is Nick, this here is Arya, this is John, and over there is Guyver.
Arya, John, Guyver. Well, those are 4 fantastic names. Could you tell me the heritage of those names?
Well, why don't you just remind our listener and tell me for the first time what your full name is.
It's me. I'm the one who's listening.
Yes, for your friend here.
My dear friend Kuuza here, who has no cool story about his name that I'm aware of yet. Well, my name is Anastasia Lawswift, but all my friends call me Tay. And it's my pleasure.
I believe our tribes may have intermingled at such a time. My full name is Nick Emanage. This is my husband, John Emanage. His maiden name was Flynn, so you could call him John Nee Flynn. This is Arya Nagrande. And Geiger's last name there is They. Of course, making Guy Garvey.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it's my pleasure to make all of your acquaintances, and I am now certainly understanding your previous comment on the Discord about how you'd come up with some puns a few weeks prior to this recording.
Isn't our culture a delight? Isn't it so wondrous that now we have established that all centaurs in this wide, wonderful world of ours have to have a pop star pun as a name?
Yeah, in the whole wide world, regardless of the tone of the broader campaign, it's lovely to know. It's a comfort.
Regardless of the tone of the campaigns that we might be running in the future.
Yeah. If only it would be nice, perhaps, to know that there was one person who was responsible for this choice.
I would like to shake that person by the hand.
Or the hoof.
And all of them laugh.
It's so delightful to make your acquaintance. Will you be staying in the Undercity long, or are you merely passing by?
Why, yes, we have been contracted by the Millets to, offer our services as muscle, as it were. I see that you yourself are of the muscular persuasion.
Well, I have been known to muscle my way through certain problems, yes. As our centaurs are very good at doing. We tend to have our way when we want it.
Isn't that the truth? Now, isn't it wonderful that we are not you, I presume, are perhaps the only centaur here in the Undercity until our arrival? Now, we might be mistaken for each other.
Yes, I do believe that is a wonderful happenstance, as up until this point, had I even stepped a single hoof wrong out of place, it was very obvious that it was in fact my fault. So I welcome more of my brethren down in these dark hallways, and should you ever need help or guidance, I am more than happy to be called upon at any time or anywhere.
And we offer the same courtesy to yourself. If you ever have need of 4 strapping centaur
Well, since you mentioned that, we have need of you right now. We're heading over to the chapel over there, and we see our friend of ours has been killed, and that is why I'm here.
My deepest condolences.
Well, thank you. It's very kind. And as you know, centaurs, we take the afterlife very very seriously, and certainly someone's wishes about the afterlife very seriously. And so the fact that my dear friend was very superstitious about such things, and certainly did
Say
not...
no more, say no more. I feel as though I have already heard this exact explanation,
Excellent, you
and
understand.
I am happy to jump on board with it immediately.
Absolutely. So
This
the chapel...
poor girl cannot have her wishes disrespected.
I agree entirely. The chapel's over there. Let's go roll some checks.
Well, you see, I have just come from that direction, and I can sadly tell you that the chapel is currently deserted at this present moment in time.
Really?
It's almost as if a convoy is on its way to the chapel, and the chapel is merely a destination, and is not presently a place of interest for investigation.
That is some hot information, which I do very much appreciate. Well, here's my card.
Ah, wonderful. I'm sure we can use this in a way to just almost telepathically commune with each other should the need arise.
Absolutely. You stand up a flare and I'll be there.
And all four of them bow in unison and are on their way.
Yep.
That's Nick, Arya, John, and Geiger.
Yep.
Aria Ne Grande. It's so tenuous.
No, brilliant.
Oh, there were worse ones. So you'll find yourselves in the quiet square with the knowledge that the body you seek is on its way here.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing? Are we making it so the ghost can't talk, or are we making this body disappear en route? What are we doing?
I feel if the body were to disappear, that would be wholeheartedly confusing, suspicious, and unsatisfying, and thus create more problems in the long term. However, simply being unable to commune with the body that they would have otherwise expected to be able to do so would kind of close the book on that side of the investigation in my mind. So I feel like we should sabotage this place.
But your new beau, the sergeant, did they mention, is it at all suspicious if they can't talk to the body?
You would remember that Sergeant Limetree did touch on the idea that it's not an exact science communing with the dead, especially in Saren.
Well, that's all right then. That answers that question.
Also, what goes through your mind as a plan? Because at the moment, my main plan is to find where they're going to do this and rig some sort of trap which causes a fall of rocks above the head of Neutrality Jones's corpse. You got anything better than that?
I mean, I don't really know how this works. If we, I
think we just mush.
cut the tongue out the corpse, does that stop the ghost talking?
I'm not sure it's a sort of making the corpse come back to life kind of thing. I think it's like a bringing the spirit, the ghost, like out of it. See, I don't know have you ever had an experience with a ghost where you were aware of a ghost and they were sort of separated from a physical body?
Kuuza looks past Tay's left ear to where the ghost is standing and say, I don't know, do you have any thoughts on this?
No response.
Tay sort of moves her head into where your eyeline is and like, no, that's why I was asking you. And so, I mean, I would, my understanding were if we were to, say, mushify this corpse a little bit, might not be able to work anymore. I don't know.
Will that also mushify a number of spirit wardens? And might that be a very bad move?
As you are discussing potential plans, you notice some movement over towards the chapel.
I roll for initiative.
And you see two Forger sisters leaving the front door and making their way down the steps and are crossing the square. They are not dressed like your typical Forger sisters. Their clothing is much tighter, as if they are ready for action rather than proselytizing. And you see that they are fairly heavily armed, these two women, as they leave the Spirit Warden Chapel and make their way back into the city.
Well, I didn't see that coming. Did you see that coming, Kuuza?
Didn't see that coming.
Well, the question is, I guess, at this point, you and I have always seen quite eye to eye about various things, you know.
Because I'm taller than the others.
Well, yes. At this point, is Gecko really worth all of this trouble? I mean, we are in the middle of a literal police compound. There are heavily armored sisters. There are spirit wardens and the like. Could we not just leave at this point? I'm just floating it as an option. I'm not saying we have to do it. I just, I thought we should explore all such options. What are your thoughts?
You don't leave your mates in the shit.
I know. That's why I'm talking about Gecko. I mean, it's not like we walked in, stole something from the compound, and then walked away, tried to get out,
Well, no, we've not walked away yet.
What?
What?
Clinking of gold under Goose's coat.
Right, so what do we think the Forger sisters were doing in there?
Can I be honest with you, Kuuza? I'm not really much of a thinker or more of a doer.
Now that I'm thinking about it, who is the thinker? Because it ain't you, and it ain't me,
I was
and
going to say,
it ain't Gecko,
and
it ain't Reinhard.
There's potential here to use one of the many resources available to you to gather some information about what might be happening here. If that might help.
I understand that neither of us are the thinkers and neither of us are the ones that gather information either, so we might be
I think technically I should be the sort of person who gathers information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sneak in all sneaky, like have a little shifty round, see what's going on, and maybe if our plan is to interfere with the ceremony, I could, for example, hide myself in a prepared position.
Whereas, before you do that, could I perhaps survey a location or situation to understand what's going on, sense trouble before it happens, gather information about opportunities or exploits?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, if you like. Don't know why you said it so weird.
That is a 5 and a 6.
Did you roll
I have 2
extra
points.
dice for your informants that you got from a previous score?
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
The reason you rigged the stag race was to gain the informant.
What stag
ability.
race? What are you talking about? What day is it?
You have a network of
What year
homeless
is it?
people feeding you information, which
Well,
gets
I've already
your
rolled a 5 and a
crew
6.
an extra.
Fine,
Oh yeah, so
it made no
actually it doesn't
difference.
matter. 6, yeah, great, fantastic. What are you trying to work out?
Stop trying to link the story together, Toph.
There is no narrative here.
What are you surveying? What are you doing? What are you looking at?
The chapel, the location in general, and where they were coming from and what's going on, and just like, can I get a sense of...
You got a shopping list?
Yeah! I'm like, what the fuck is
Okay.
happening?
You enter the chapel. You can quietly, somehow, see that there is one figure in a spirit warden's uniform towards the back of the chapel, setting up an altar for what you would recognise from what Sergeant Limetree explained as a way of channeling a ghost from a corpse. So you have identified where the body is going to end up.
So what were the Scissor Sisters doing there? Rolled a 5 and a 6. Just like...
Yeah, I want to give you the information. I'm trying to think of a plausible way that you would work it out.
Perhaps I could also gather some information.
Yeah, but you're going to
And
roll
we-
so badly, and you're going to ruin it, and then Toad's going to take away the information that I got with my 5 and a 6.
I'm not. I really want to give you
Okay.
some information that gets you to what I actually had in mind.
I want to play in Tove's sandbox, and I want to, there's some sort of vagrant who's been taken in for questioning on some trumped up charge, who's just kind of waiting outside an interview room, who saw the whole thing. And
Oh yeah, he
he's
recognises
sort of-
you as well, because Archie, Mistress of Rags, has put the word out that they all work for you now, so he's happy to give you information.
It's so happy I wouldn't even need to roll for it, for example.
You would have to roll for it.
Oh, God, no.
But you get
You
like
don't get away
right?
with it twice in a row, bitch.
Well, hold on. Now I need to gamify this.
Yeah, whatever you roll, add 1 to it for the informant.
Yeah, I mean, I also have survey, which I think makes sense for this. But I'm sort of surveying from someone else.
Unless you want a consort? Consort with
No, I
connections
don't
from your
want to do
heritage,
that.
background, friends, or rivals. Yeah, I think consort makes... No, but that makes sense in terms of the game, so that's probably what you should do, right?
Yeah, so in that case... Oh no, I'm adding 1 to it, aren't I? So that means I have
Extra dice.
1 dot in it, which
Yep.
means I roll 1 dice, which is a 4. Yeah, so see what the sisters were up to in there.
Well, they're pissed at you, right? I imagine they want to talk to the corpse as much as the spirit wardens do. So I expect they are wanting to establish if that really is your mate Gecko who's died.
What? How does some random fucking dude know this?
Word travels fast amongst the crew.
There is no
That's
word.
why we wanted to get them on side.
It was foolproof.
He's on your side.
But he knows. The fact he knows is fucking damning for how well we pulled this off to begin with.
If I were you, I'd get out ahead of them, find the convoy, get in there, do something to the corpse so it can't talk. But that's just me, right? I'm just a surprisingly knowledgeable vagrant.
Sorry, what was
You're
your
a
name?
surprisingly knowledgeable vagrant whose voice changed dramatically after their first line, like an Oblivion NPC.
I am a master of disguise. Wink.
Oh, what is your name?
Well, if I told you that, I'd have to kill you, wouldn't I?
Very
Try
clever.
me.
That's very clever.
Let's say my name is Cellular Winder. You see, I'm not particularly inventive. I am in a cell, and there's a window over
You're in
there.
a cell?
That's what Ralph established just a minute ago, yeah.
Well, you're not that good, are you, if you're locked in the cell?
I'm exactly where I mean to be, miss.
I'd like to break him out of the cell. I'm kidding. I just wanted you to sweat very briefly. Well, we just got to sabotage this corpse, haven't we? That isn't there yet. We have to rig something. Either a distraction somewhere else, which takes people away from the whole shebang, which sounds remarkably dangerous given where we are, or we have to fuck up that corpse via sabotage, either
En
by a
route.
trap or you could put on. We could go in, kill that spirit warden, and take their clothes, and you could pretend to be that spirit warden the whole time. Do some.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with that is that the spirit wardens, they very much know about death, and they know that every time someone dies.
Well, we wouldn't have to kill
and
them.
they
Just on the head.
just bonk 'em.
Exactly what got you into this mess in the first place.
I'm having a chat with Ralph. Bonk on the head. Right?
Oh, excuse me. I'll stand back.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
Take
can
your headphones off.
off.
Bonk on the head. Ow.
Yeah, just a nice harmless bonk.
Bonk them on the head. Steal their clothes.
Yeah.
You'll have to wear them because I'm a horse lady.
Yeah, of course.
And horse, not horse. And then you just pretend to be a spirit warden that's having trouble connecting with the dead. Done.
Mm.
That's it, isn't it? That's all we need to do. Right, let's go do that. You don't have a better idea.
It sounds.
I think we
that-
should just go and bonk this young man, this spirit warden, on the head, and you can pretend to be a
See-
spirit warden from here on in.
That sounds like it might be quite an entertaining plan from an
Exactly.
outside
And
perspective.
what are
But
we?
it
if not
also
entertaining?
sounds like it won't work on almost any level if anything about spirit wardens that I understand is true.
Well, what are you talking about? What do you think spirit wardens are? Are they not men? Are they not
I mean-
humanoids?
Whatever they are, you know that Ralph knows more about them than you do. Because I like Ralph's take on this more.
Because, I don't know, I feel like, from my understanding of spirit wardens, if I were to look at one's health bar, it would have a skull above it.
Yeah, but let's not forget we are playing Blades in the Dark, my friend. So we just have to roll well on a couple of dice and bonk someone on the head for a
Yeah,
little bit. and they go sleepy.
we have to roll well. We do.
Well,
the two of
I
us.
will do the hitting, not you. You can assist me.
Or we find this convoy.
Hang on, I got it. Why don't we flash back that we had this idea before and have Spirit Warden get with us right now? You can be a trainee spirit warden. I would like
It's not the worst idea I've heard all evening.
I will flash back to when Kuuza, Tay, Randall, and Gecko were sitting around the table, and Randall was like, "Oh yes, well, I've got this amazing idea. Why don't you come along?
Doing all the voices.
Why don't you come along? When you get there, when you get to the chapel, they'll obviously do some sort of seance-y nonsense. I've talked to Mummy about it. Mummy, Nanny, whoever it is, I'm drunk. I do drugs. And why, when we get there, why don't you just pretend?
That's Randall all over.
Why don't you just pretend to be a spirit warden? Maybe one in training. They'll let you do the thing. You do your oomba boomba sort of nonsense with it. A little bit of the hip action, like Strictly. And then come across, and then, oh no, you can't commune with the dead. Bang! And then leave. So here, take these clothes. I had them sewn for you because I'm rich. There you go. Put them on your backpack. It will cost you 1 load each. And then you could just go and crack on with the story. So, and then...
Who wants to text Bambi and get him in here to roll for that?
Roll for what, though?
Procuring... convincing uniforms of the most heavily guarded group of the city.
Come on. We'll just say it costs some coin.
Yeah, it cost Randall some coin.
Yeah, it cost Randall some coin.
Delete some coin from Bambi's character sheet.
What was your idea, Ralph, when you were talking about finding the convoy? Just to get all our options out on the table.
For no reason at all, could we perhaps explore Ralph's
I mean, this might be a heavily contrived way of getting a really cool hunt scene in for Kuuza or something, but no, we can do whatever. But
instead, maybe Kuuza could do some social subterfuge, something that his character is really optimised for.
I'm just saying, I would love to see Ralph roleplay a spirit warden as Kuuza for the first time.
Or we find the convoy, fuck up the corpse somehow before it gets here, then we don't have to deal. Then we don't have to... I let you talk. I let you do that really long impression of Reinhard.
Well, was it spot on or what?
It was spot on, I will give you that. We get to the convoy, we find the convoy, we somehow fuck the corpse up so it can't talk, and... then we don't have to deal with this whole mess of spirit wardens and fucking forger sisters in the fucking clink.
All right, I'll play your game, but if it doesn't work, we go to Plan B, which is you conducting a seance.
All right, deal.
You make your way into the city.
Yeah, is the corpse arriving by railroad or?
All I want, listeners, you hear this shit? You're hearing this? I want you to write in. I know there's at least 4 of you that listen. You write in. You say if you wanted to hear my shit.
It's a what if. We'll do a what if for an anniversary special.
I mean, this does involve you actually finding the convoy, so there is a chance that you...
It might come to Plan B, because I'm going to do a hunt roll now.
Oh, great.
I would like to... Do I want to... No, I'd like to gather information, but how do I do this? I mean, does cellular Windows know where the convoy's coming from?
Was that his name?
You fucking said his name.
You might say that you've already gathered information.
I was going to say that Centaur has bolted.
Fair enough. In that case, I don't know, take to the rooftops to try and hunt down this convoy.
You know it's coming from the stag racing track, so you
know where it's going.
It's rough route.
Yeah.
And I have 2 dots in hunt, so I get to roll 2 dice and take the highest of these. Of these two.
Take one away because your hand it's not burnt anymore, but it's just really stiff.
Yeah, you're really struggling to climb up on top of those rooftops and jumping from rooftop to rooftop with your bad hand.
Yeah, that's true. It's, jumping and grabbing onto drain pipes, etc. That'll be a 4. That's my number for this evening.
Okay, so you find yourself on a rooftop overlooking the large black wagon, which you believe to contain the corpse of Gecko/Neutrality Jones. There is one Spirit Warden on top driving it. There are 2 Spirit Wardens walking behind it. Unfortunately, with a 4, it took a little bit longer than you would have hoped, and you see on the opposite side of the road the 2 Forger sisters also looking down on the convoy.
Piss.
Shall we just put the clothes on now? Should we put the robes? Wait, where is Tay in this? Have you gone off to do this?
Yeah, I reckon you can still communicate with each other. Like, you haven't been abandoned. You're maybe the next street over or something, waiting for a scouting mission to return.
Caw-caw!
Caw-caw, dookie.
And that is the code for exactly what I just described.
Have they seen me?
No, they have not seen you.
Okay. So, this is a carriage. It is pulled by horses.
Have we said horses are
Oh no, we said no
rare in
horses,
the
right?
city? Yeah, they're like shaggy yaks or something.
Beetles.
It could be beetles.
Beasts of burden.
Large beasts of burden, yeah. Skittish animals, you know, they'll
Very
bolt at
skittish.
anything, you know, like,
Yeah.
They're not hardy like surface creatures.
Especially, for example, if I were to...
Take out of your backpack
Yes.
this large Molotov cocktail.
Yeah, I mean, one of my options is demolition tools.
So we run ahead.
Yeah,
Plants
either
on
run
the road.
ahead or I load something into my crossbow to make something frightening in front of them, or...
I feel like running ahead and setting up feels like a lot less of a difficult potential role than loading something into a crossbow and firing it.
Yeah, okay. So we'll scout ahead, try and find... I mean, something that looks like it's going to fall over
A bridge.
and explode of its own accord, so it's not suspicious, right?
A bridge.
Yeah, okay, there's a wooden bridge that leads between... there's like a famous inn just outside the clink.
What's it called?
The Gathering Dark, because it's
Ooh.
known as the first inn that people visit when they first come to the Undercity, and it's got this wooden structure that goes over the road, and you can see up the famous boulevard that leads deeper into the Undercity.
What's the boulevard called?
The Boulevard of
Broken
Darkened Dreams.
Yeah, fucking let's blow a bridge.
Except...
What? What now? Tove has given you everything you could possibly want on a silver platter. What?
Excuse me for wanting to cover our backs a little bit. The whole point of this is to remove suspicion. If the bridge just fucking explodes out of nowhere...
Okay,
Here's what I, Ralph, am thinking. Presumably, around the clink, there are some people who are unhappy about what the clink is doing, because there are, for example, loved ones inside the clink who they think should not be inside the clink.
That's a common story in the Undercity, yep.
Mayhaps, if we were to stoke said fires...
Incite a riot?
Incite a riot and pin the blame on it, yeah.
Okay. Oh, a sort of 1-2.
Full flag it.
So you... So what you're saying is, you sort out the bridge, I'll sort out the riot.
Yeah. I reckon that's a fairly sensible division of labour.
And Kay and Tuza do the secret handshake.
Yes. You know, once that's completed, 5 minutes later, we do the plan.
I canter off to the Pitchfork Emporium.
Next to Jim's Hall of Torches.
Yeah.
Luckily,
okay, what about
the
Jim's
torches is
torches?
open late, so...
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be open
Well,
until dark.
Jim does most of his business after dark, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that backs onto the Tar and Feather consortium.
Gibbets are us.
And I'm like, hey, Jim, I know it's been a long time since I defended your shop from those shoplifters all those days ago that were looking to create inside a mob, but have you known any work nearby? I was seeing there were some awfully unhappy people nearby. I didn't want to miss out a good show, and I want to make sure that your shop and others didn't need defending again. I know I'm looking at you as you prepare an accent, and I'd just really like to hear what you got to say.
Why, Tay, how pleasant it is to see you again. Of course, I do not remember exactly the nature of our relationship because we haven't done a little flashback for you to set up this apparently quite intimate relationship you have with me.
Well, I mean, it was a long time ago. I'm not sure I'd describe it as an intimate relationship.
Days. You said days.
Did I?
You said it's been a long time since I defended your shop a few days ago.
Did I say that? That is not what I meant. It was a long time ago. You know that, Jim. You're messing with me, Jim. Come on. It's been years, Jim.
Set this up somehow. Come on, spend some stress. Come on, play with me here. Let's play some game. Let's roll some dice. Let's find out how much this guy likes you.
All right, fine. What do you want me to flash back to when I fought off the Horde? What do you want?
Yeah, okay. His emporium is burning around him, and you kick down the front door and burst in. And he looks at you with hope in his eyes.
And I offer him my services for gold coin and a phaser. And at that moment, he pays me. And I sweep him up into my arms like a small babe. Because the trouble about his shop is it's so damn flammable. You know?
I'm looking for some kind of role to think about how much he's going to support you.
I mean, I feel like a bit of a sway. It is a sway roll, right?
Yep.
6.
Oh. Tay, how good it is to see you. I would die for you.
Well, you wouldn't be the only one in this city.
Tay, you've got some nerve showing up here. After what you pulled.
This is either the best episode or the worst episode. And it's honestly, it could go.
And honestly, it's the worst.
I think it's the best. I think the listeners will agree with me.
Mark a stress for the flashback.
What?
However, you have the foremost pitchfork and torch supplier in the city ready at your beck and call with all his friends.
Mm-hmm. And more importantly, all the potential rioters were in.
That is what I'm getting at, yeah. Tay, simply give the word and we will do whatever you want. Kuuza, what are you up to?
Kuuza is having a scope around the bridge area, specifically the area sort of between the bridge and the gathering dark, with the thought that pubs are quite flammable and sometimes fires happen in them. And also,
regularly.
Maybe there's some flammable stuff that's just around and maybe it happened to have got to the bridge somehow and then the bridge exploded.
Like ale or wine or
something with a higher alcohol content. Yeah, like spirits.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be too hard to locate a couple of barrels of spirits that you could sneak away.
Yeah, Toad did beautifully describe how wooden the pub is.
Very wooden, just remarkably wooden.
Just
outside the clink is just very, like, the contrast between the clink and the area immediately around it. Like stone and wood.
Yeah, Kuuza's setting some discreet demolition charges.
I'd like a shot of your finest spirit, please. And another. And another. And another. And just like,
hello, I would like a dangerous amount of whiskey, please.
Not the first time that's been ordered in one day, I imagine.
So we're marking load for the explosives.
Oh yeah, we certainly are. That's 2 boxes of load for my demolition tools.
Ooh. What's the plan with the explosives? Are you rigging them on a timer or a remote detonator, and then finding somewhere to hide and observe?
Yeah, I suppose some sort of remote detonation. Definitely not a timer.
What about something you set it up, but it's something that could be triggered by, say, a bunch of people with flaming torches?
Yeah, just sort of a load of fuses just around, any of which could catch fire at any point.
Mm-hmm.
And then stand well the fuck back.
And you secrete yourself back into the dark just in time as the gaze of the Forger Sister assassins fall on this boulevard. Tay, you can spot the convoy making its way down the boulevard now. Obviously, you've perfectly orchestrated with Kuuza to know exactly at what point the explosives have been planted.
Mm-hmm.
What's your plan from here?
It's the point at which Kuuza starts legging it in the other direction.
Yeah, I was going to say, at what point do you mean that specifically where they've been planted?
It can mean whatever you want it to mean.
Okay, I was just very confused by your turn of phrase. Yeah, so Tay has been stoking the fires, figuratively and literally. And she says, Jim, I think it's torching time. It's time to rise up, my friends, against these rebels, this Clink and their operatives, the millets who have been controlling you, locking up your loved ones, and rising up as if they are somehow better than all of you. I say we tell them exactly what we think of them, and starts handing out torches.
As you're handing out torches, you notice you have to pass them not as far down as you have been, because 4 centaurs are in the queue to accept torches.
4 new centaurs?
4 centaurs that you have seen once before.
Oh, it's Nikki and Arya and Nick and John. No, I said Nick twice. Who's the other one?
Ah, well, he is the one with the slightly unusual name of Gaga. It's a pleasure
yes,
to meet you again, my friend.
Well, I'm so grateful to have your presence here, if not just to dilute the pool of possible suspects.
Wow, what a funny turn of phrase. I think we're going to like it down here in the Undercity.
I think you will too. Have a torch.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go burn something because I love the smell of burning wood.
That's us centaurs. That's so Centaur.
There will definitely still be 5 centaurs around at the end of this.
I think this might be a command.
Yeah. Command. Oh, it's a 6 and a 1.
Ooh. Well, I just got here and I hate these damn millets already. And he puts his fist through the nearest glass window, and that's through to the wine cellar, which immediately erupts into flames and very quickly overtakes the wooden structure of the Gathering Dark, which the name now feels rather ironic. And the flames are gradually spreading to the wooden bridge that leads across to the shopping district.
Well, I'm very glad that you've taken up such a thing. Unfortunately, it's that time I'm feeling mighty tired. And I must say, I may be a fair maiden, but I do need my beauty sleep.
I'm very weary.
I'm weary, and so I will be taking my leave. Goodbye, and she leaves.
Why, of course, my friend. Why don't you...
Oh, best episode ever. Oh, loving it.
What do we think happens next? I think with that 6, you have commanded the right to start at the correct time. And the bridge catches fire. It reaches the fuses just as the convoy is approaching the bridge. A deafening whoosh of fire and alcohol and explosives. The bridge comes crashing down right in front of the convoy, and the beasts of burden rear up and bolt to a side alley. A side alley which is definitely far too narrow for such a large carriage. The spirit wardens, who are walking behind the carriage, are left standing dumbfounded, watching their carriage disappear off into the back streets. Kuuza, you now have the opportunity to follow the carriage.
Oh, that's where this went. In my head, we rigged it so the carriage went down in flames.
That would have been a way better plan, but that is not what I had planned.
Really?
You're giving chase, perhaps over the rooftops or on the streets?
Yes, rooftops was my thought, because the streets are full of baddies.
Careful about your arm, though.
It's very stiff.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect that this hand is going to be a problem sort of regardless of what physical activity I do, if I'm honest.
Because maybe we forgot about that for the previous weeks.
Yeah, and maybe it's sort of fair enough that maybe it sort of hurts
It comes
quite a
back
lot
to
now.
bite you now.
Yeah, gonna try and entirely with my non-dominant hand, scamper across the rooftops after this carriage.
You
See
hoping?
which alleyway it ended up in.
I think you are following it easily. I think you have the opportunity to act upon the carriage now, if you had something in mind.
So it's in a narrow. It's careening. Would you say down a narrow?
Definitely
alleyway?
careening. Yeah, it's like scraping on both sides, and people are having to jump into doorways to escape the stampede.
Yeah. See, here's the next bit I hadn't thought about even a little bit.
Flashback then? Flashback to us planning this?
Flashback. Well, we set up a tripwire, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just thinking. Let's take those beasts of burden out!
Yeah, like, I don't know, razor wire, something nasty. Just kind of absolutely take their legs out, smash the thing up at full speed.
Oh, God.
Hold on, how does the, in Dark Knight, how does that thing with the lorry work? Because I've never understood that, but let's try and do that.
Thing with the lorry.
It's just a tripwire hitting a big lorry, right? And it sort of flips over
It's a
forwards.
tripwire, but he gets it round a thing, and then somehow that makes the lorry completely flip over
Physics,
from the front.
bro.
It like hooks onto the
We
front
do
axle.
some physics.
Yeah. Listen to Toph.
Perhaps you were lying in the gutter in the centre of the street with a heavy-duty hook ready to hook onto the bottom of the carriage as it goes over your head.
That is exactly what I'm doing, yes. I have hidden in a prepared position.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something you got some help with, isn't it?
Yeah. Because, obviously, where would they run to? They'd run to the nearest place.
Well, the riot, you had a 6 on inciting the riot.
Yeah.
right?
So
Right?
we cut off several points of exit.
Not only did you incite a riot, you also said specifically where the riot is going to happen, blocking those streets.
And, lots of shouting people with torches can scare a beast of burden away, so...
I love that the beasts of burden are still undefined.
Yeah,
they are simply
the
beasts
generic
of burden.
beasts of burden.
Boogs.
So I reckon that's a stress for the flashback, and then tell me what you want to roll for...
Definitely finesse. It's got to be finesse, hasn't it?
Feels finessey.
Finesse an item from someone's pocket,
Arguably.
employs subtle misdirection or sleight of hand, handle a vehicle or a mount.
You are handling that vehicle.
Unfortunately, an argument could also be made for wreck. Neither of them I have a dot in. You could argue that the most important thing is being out of sight, so that we...
No. Because the beasts of burden don't care about you.
No, I suppose you're right.
I don't know.
Right, okay. Death or glory.
Yeah, I love that.
am going... I like the hide underneath and get a grappling hook underneath it.
You're going to roll 2 dice for finesse and take the lower result.
Yes, but I am hiding in a prepared position, which does give me plus 1d, specifically to avoid detection, but maybe Toph will be kind.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
1 dice. It's all on 1 dice. Because historically, Toph, Ralph does very well when it's all on 1 dice roll.
It's true. So, Kuuza is lying in the alleyway.
We'll call this desperate as well, because this is incredibly dangerous.
Oh, do you get plus 1 dice then?
Nope.
Yes, you
No.
That's pushing yourself, which you could also do.
You should push yourself!
I'm going to push myself and get an extra dice. Thank you so much.
That's 2 stress.
2 stress, that's fine. I'm used to having quite a lot of stress. I've only got 4 at the moment, so frankly, I don't feel alive. And soon won't be. Haha!
And mark experience, because this is desperate.
Mm-hmm. The carriage is careening down the alleyway.
Yeah.
We'll assume the other end of the rope is tied to like a lamppost or something that you know isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Chain.
Or maybe it's
The
not,
chain.
and we're about to find out what it's
Chain.
tied to.
I think
chain.
I should establish now that you're going to suffer some at least level 2 harm if this is a flat fail.
Yeah. I kind of figured that would be the case.
Oh, either way, we win, listeners.
5.
5! That's a consequence.
And a
3. So that would have been a flat fail, right?
Yeah. The hook catches the front axle and the rope whips taut right in front of your face and scratches you across the face, giving you level 1 harm.
rope burn to the face. Oof.
The rope snaps taut and the front axle of the carriage crashes away from its housing, and the carriage itself smashes into the cobbled streets and crumples to pieces as the spirit warden riding on top of the carriage and the beasts of burden carry on in a straight line. The beast of burden, quite naturally, the spirit warden, quite violently. You stand up, face bloodied, in the middle of the street, the fires of the riot somewhere behind you, and you can now see the remains of the carriage in front of you. The back door is swinging open on its hinges.
Tay trots over, offers Kuuza a drink of volatile vodka-based spirit, potatoes-based spirit.
Kuuza takes it greedily.
Tay takes it back, has a swig, sticks some cloth to the top of it, lights it, chucks it at the carriage, and they walk away as it explodes in flame.
Yeah, they do.
You step into the nearest alleyway as the carriage ignites, and you hear the very light footsteps of 2 people walking towards the carriage and sighing with disappointment as you vanish into the night.
Yeah!
And that's where we'll end it tonight. Thanks for listening to Of Dice and Them. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a review on your favourite podcasting platform and subscribe to be notified as soon as new episodes drop. In the meantime, give us a follow at Of Dice and Them on social media, where you can also find out how to follow our cast. And we'll see you next time.
Hello, this is Annabelle Thorne, current head of Thorne Investigations, a paranormal investigations company set up in Edinburgh. I'm here to tell you today that monsters are real, and have been real for centuries, only they've been hiding. We don't understand why they're coming into the light now, but if you see anything, if you hear anything that makes you think you're in contact with one, tell us. We can help. I have a few agents in the field just now, Evangeline Lane Fox, Peter Anderson, Vera Bright, and, for better or worse, my niece, Tabitha. Don't hesitate to tell us. If you do, you might not get another chance.
The Thorn Files podcast is a Monster of the Week actual play podcast with new episodes coming out every other Friday. If you're a fan of horror, mysteries, and shenanigans, why don't you come and give us a listen at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and pretty much everywhere else you can get podcasts. Be ready to be scared.
Is the post-credit scene the spirit warden who was riding on top coming skidding to a halt with just the seat and like the steering wheel,
Yes.
like the end of Wacky Races?
Yeah, and he sort of stamps on his hat.